Welcome to Tall Traveler, a family travel channel where we take you along with us on our family adventures through Europe. This October we traveled to southern Italy, where we hit up Puglia, the Amalfi Coast, and a quick stop in Rome. If you're planning a trip to southern Italy, then come with us and get a sneak peek at some of the amazing experiences you can look forward to. I'll also clue you in on some of our top tips we learned to make your experience a breeze. First up, Puglia. We live in Germany, so we chose to fly to Rome and then drive to Puglia. While this trip could be done entirely with public transportation, we chose the flexibility of having a car, so we rented. Renting a van for 7 people was pretty expensive, but we found that renting 2 mid-sized cars was actually a pretty good alternative and pretty affordable. The drive from Rome to Puglia was a little long, but the route offered some great views of the mountains, and once you got to the Puglia region, there were olive groves everywhere. In fact, the AirBNB we stayed in just outside San Michele, Sorrento, was smack in the middle of olive groves. It was just beautiful. There's a ton of stuff to do in the region, and with only 3 days in Puglia, we only scratched the surface. The town of Alberobello was first on the list. Alberobello is one of the most iconic places to see in the Puglia region. A suburb of Bari, this town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, featuring a dense collection of Trullo buildings nestled into a hillside. It's a great place to walk around, window shop, pick up a few souvenirs, and of course, eat gelato.
And then the houses, the Trulli, I think is what they were called, with the domed tops and the way the stones were built, and they all had these different designs on them.
It's coming upon such a unique village with such unique housing that I've never seen anywhere else. It felt magical and almost like you're in a storybook.
And while we were in the Puglia region, we just had to immerse ourselves in the turquoise waters of the Adriatic Sea. Only a 20-minute drive and we were there, swimming in some of the most beautiful water imaginable.
Oh, dude, totally wicked!
I loved going to the Adriatic Sea. I really loved that little cove that we were in, where we were jumping off of the rocks and swimming in there in a very calm sea, but then also seeing the waves crash on the rocks, like right outside of it and flowing in. That was really gorgeous.
It felt super salty. I have not looked up yet what the difference in salinity is. I definitely felt more buoyant in the water.
Of course, a trip to Italy wouldn't be complete without a pasta making experience. For this, our host, Marina, had just the ticket. Only 5 minutes away is Sweet Pasqa, where an Italian couple teaches guests how to make their very own pasta. This was quite an experience.
And roll it. Roll it. The pasta you must roll, not the knife.
Okay.
Oh, just like playing with Play-Doh and making
We were greeted like, that we were really special. They were excited to have us there. We got to learn how to make pasta. They welcomed us, made us feel like we were old friends.
And we've learned that it's important when traveling with kids to balance sightseeing with fun experiences that they enjoy. That's why staying at a place like Marina's was so much fun. The truly styled architecture was so unique, and the kids loved swimming in the pool and running between the olive trees.
fact that the first place that we stayed was basically in a little miniature olive grove surrounded by thousands, I think, accurately, of other olive groves was really delightful. The really incredibly deep portico was gorgeous. Just that we could be out there at any time of day and the temperature felt right. The sun wasn't shining directly on us. We could eat out there, we could relax, we could read. Was really refreshing. And just the pace seemed slow and restful the whole time that we were there.
We went from what I would consider a very fancy, gorgeous villa with a pool and backyard and the olive grove there.
It was such a peaceful place to relax and enjoy some family time. I can't recommend this place highly enough. Marina was a consummate host and our property was a great value. The time in Puglia flew by, and before we knew it, it was time to travel across the peninsula to the Amalfi Coast. Destination, Maiori.
Driving on the roads, happily I was not driving, I was riding on the roads, was exciting and terrifying at the same time as we're up on the mountains and cars are coming straight at you and they don't even slow down, they just move over.
We arrived just in time to check in and get up to the Path of Lemons as the sun set. Now the Path of Lemons connects the town of Maiori with the town of Minori, and it's a magical time to see this trail. Highly recommend seeing this trail with the lemon trees scattered along and beautiful coastal views as the sun sets.
We did get to see some lemons ripening. Most of them were still green, but it was really gorgeous at the top. We got to see several architectural buildings and just a really gorgeous sunset up there.
It was challenging because there was a lot of steps, but the view is worth it. It's beautiful.
One of our time-tested techniques is to ask a local where they like to dine when they want to eat. So when we checked into the hotel, we asked the woman at the counter her preferred place to eat pizza in the local area. We promptly made a reservation at Mamato's along the boardwalk in Maiori. I'm pretty sure I could eat there every night and never get tired of the environment and fabulous pizza.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you go out for dinner, expect the restaurant to be open later in the evening. And also expect that the menu will probably look different than you're used to. Now, if you order off of the first course or the primi, that will come with a pasta, and the second course will be something you more often associate with a main dish, like a meat dish. We ordered off of both and just shared around with the family. That way we didn't rack up the bill too high, and we also didn't have so many leftovers we couldn't take them home. For drinks, we ordered the house wine. It's usually cheaper, sourced from a local vineyard, and it's always fantastic, so well worth it. Lastly, I would say you have to get the tiramisu, because if you don't, why go to Italy? The Amalfi area is known for its coastal geography and architecture, but to see the colorful houses built into the cliff sides, you really need to see it from the water. Here we are in Maiori, about to get on a ferry, head over to Amalfi, see what the day has to offer.
I mean, it's the coast. I love the ocean. I've always loved the ocean. I loved being out on it, on the boat, and looking back towards the shore and just seeing all of the houses the way that they're just like stairs on top of each other, but just brightly colored stairs with all the windows, and seeing all of the porches and arches in those homes from the water. The way that they were like nestled on all these rocky crags was just really amazing.
Amalfi proper is both charming and offers some stunning views, like the Duomo of St. Andre and countless high-walled alleyways.
But also the narrow streets, just the different towns where they just had all these little streets, like even under people's houses, where you'd be like walking on a main street and go, I want to get off of this, and then you'd find yourself walking all these little back streets and the infinite stairs, just stairs that went everywhere.
Touring Museo della Carta was a favorite for the kids. This museum is a paper mill where they've been making handmade paper for hundreds of years. And we even got the chance to make some for ourselves.
And this is scotch. super.
And of course, the sunsets and the water and the beautiful vistas of the Mediterranean.
Anything interesting? Hey!
I know, I'm a fossil.
It's so totally unlike any other place I've ever been. So that was really exciting.
Now, we found out that the Amalfi Coast was made up of several different towns, and Ravello is perhaps the most stunning of those towns in terms of its views. I highly recommend getting a ticket to Villa Ruffalo, an incredible villa situated on top of cliffs and looking down the entire Amalfi Coast. It's truly stunning. After our 2 days in Amalfi, we drove to Sorrento and kicked off our time there with an exquisite culinary experience at Il Cantuccio. For me, this dinner will go down as one of the most memorable of all time, as we sat there enjoying the Italian delights and watching the sunset over the island of Capri. Speaking of Capri, the next morning we took a shuttle down to the port where we caught a ferry to the island of Capri. So here we are on the island of Capri, and now we're going to take another bus all the way up to the city of Capri. And as you can see, beautiful water behind me. Should be a good opportunity to fly the drone today and see some great sights, maybe even have a little caprese salad. Capri was beautiful and the island was stunning. I highly recommend visiting, but in hindsight, I would also recommend taking 2 days to do it. We found that between the shuttle, the ferry, and then the bus, once we got to the port on the island of Capri to get up to the city, we'd spent an equal amount of time traveling as we did trying to sightsee. So trying to do that all in one day was really compressed. However, we did really enjoy our ferry trip that circumnavigated the island on our way back to the mainland. You probably are aware that all roads lead to Rome. The ancient town of Pompeii is between Sorrento and Rome, so we just had to stop.
Pompeii was totally nothing that I expected. I had no idea it was so big and so complicated. It was obviously a pretty well-run city, and so that was way more than I expected.
Wow, Pompeii is huge. Way bigger than I ever imagined. 3 hours was not enough to see everything. We walked around like crazy and saw a lot, but you could stay here for an entire day. By the time we got to our AirBNB outside of Rome, we were worn out. We had seen so much, we had done so much, we needed a day of rest. So we decided not to see Rome the first day we were in the area. We were staying in a beautiful farmhouse right outside of Rome called the Genzano di Roma, hosted by Patrizia. What a fantastic place. Several acres of orchards. This place was a haven of rest and beauty. I highly recommend staying there.
Here we've got the hot tub heating up that we're going to get in, and just those are things that are just really refreshing to me, but also the nature. The olive grove that we're in here, I just want to live here. I don't want to visit here. This place I want to live.
Seemed to be very happy and welcoming and hospitable. That just adds to how happy you feel when you're visiting, that you feel like you're welcome and that you're not bothering people.
At Patrizzia's advice, we drove to the nearby train station and took the train and utilized the metro for our trip to Rome, which we squished all into one day and 17,000 steps. We began our adventure at the Colosseum and walked our way along several sites to include the Roman Forum, the Arch of Titus, the Trevi Fountain, the Pantheon, and of course, we had to get some fabulous gelato. Eat gelato, but look for places that keep it covered. One of the signature aspects of gelato is its lightness and airiness. When it is piled high and then refrozen overnight, when they don't sell all of it, it makes it dense and ruins the texture. If you find a place that keeps their gelato under a lid, you find a place that's serious about gelato. We concluded our time with a skip the line tour of the Vatican and of course the Sistine Chapel. Well, that's a wrap. I hope this video was helpful to you and inspires you and gets you excited for a trip to southern Italy. If you like this content and found it helpful, please subscribe. I have a mountain of content coming down the pike in the near future for all different areas in Europe. So hit subscribe and we'll see you next time.